Hello, everybody. Are you ready? Are you ready to blame Mercury retrograde for absolutely anything that's going wrong in your life and everything that's going wrong in your life and things that really have nothing to do with Mercury at all? But hey, we all need a scapegoat from time to time, and poor old Mercury just really ends up having all the cosmic garbage dumped right on top of it. And so you need something or someone to blame. Why not blame a planet, right? Not a good thing to do, really, because it ends up having repercussions for us in the long run. But we're not going to go into that too deeply. We're going to talk much more deeply about Mercury's retrograde transit through Anuradha and a very specific part of that transit where Mercury is going to be conjuncting Mars in Anuradha Nakshatra between the 11th and the 16th of November, as per the calculations I work with. So, Mercury and Mars, when they conjunct each other, they don't tend to function well together. And I'm going to give a couple of reasons why, so you understand. Let's talk about one concept first, which is five element theory, where the planets Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Mercury are all connected with an element, right? And Mercury is connected to the earth element because Mercury gives us the capacity for discrimination, discernment, right judgment, right understanding, being able to see things clearly. And that relates Mercury to the earth element. Now, Mars is the fire element. It's the hunger, it's our drive, it's our will, it's our passion, right? And so if you think about it, Earth, when you dump it on a fire, tends to put out a fire. And a fire can also scorch the earth, right? And so these two things they don't tend to function well together. And there's actually something called Mercury starving Mars, which when Mars is not strong enough to withstand the conjunction to Mercury, it places Mars in a position where it's not able to function well. It's disrupted because Mars is our drive, it's our will. It needs to believe in something in order to really pursue it strongly. And Mercury can quite often assess a situation in a very intense fashion, looking for the opportunities, looking for the flaws in a situation, which then disrupts Mars's drive and makes poor old Mars on a certain level feel pitiful and like it can't take action. And then Mars tends to rebel against that and can sometimes become overly opinionated in its pursuit of a particular belief or an idea. And beliefs, ideas, devotion to a person, those are all key themes when it comes down to Anuradha Nakshatra, which we're going to talk a little bit about next. I know some of you are not familiar with nakshatras. They're sometimes referred to as lunar mansions. They're different portions of the sky than the signs are, right? And they're connected with fixed stars. So with Anuradha Nakshatra is quite often connected with the concept of devotion. But it's a much deeper concept than that, really. If we want to understand it more deeply, we need to understand how the concept of devotion comes into being in the first place. Because in order for there to be devotion to anyone or indeed anything, there needs to be a devotee and the object of devotion, which suggests a separation or a split. And so Anuradha Nakshatra quite often leads us to take space from something so we can judge a situation correctly, so we can be sure we're assessing situations in the right manner, right? When we're dealing with Anuradha Nakshatra in a manner that is, disrupted. I don't want to say negative because it's not really negative. It's leading to something positive in the long run. But when Anuradha Nakshatra is poorly supported, maybe that's a good way to say it, then what can happen is our devotion to someone or something can cross that person's boundaries, can cross other people's boundaries, can cross our boundaries. We might not see clearly the thing that we're devoted to. And you remember that good old concept that I was talking about of Mars scorching Earth. So Mars will impassion the situation or impassion the devotion to the extent that we're not really seeing things clearly. We're approaching situations from a perspective of blind devotion rather than seeing a situation from a space of proper judgment. Now, as Mercury transits retrograde through Anuradha Nakshatra, it's asking us to reflect on our perspective on a situation or reflect on those things that we are devoted to, whether it be a cause, a belief, a person, an individual. All of those things would be mixed into the equation. So as Mercury's judging that, Mars begins to feel like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? Right? You're calling into question absolutely everything that I'm doing. What am I supposed to do? So Mars can react in an overly impassioned manner in relation to that, or just resign itself to doing absolutely nothing at all, dependent upon the situation. If you want to dive deeper into understanding this particular horoscope, or indeed anything else in your life, please feel free to schedule an astrological service through my services page that you will find linked above.